Angus, I tweeted at you yesterday that we were going to talk about Star Wars.
Yes,
So I'm just
Star Wars, great. Let's talk about Star Wars.
That I can
I'm just going to go ahead and start with that. There are clearly a lot of inspirations from Star Wars in this movie. But one that I kept picking up on throughout the whole thing was I felt like there was a lot of Han Solo in Buzz Lightyear. Maybe that was just me kind of pulling that out, with the never tell me the odds kind of mentality, especially at the beginning there. I was wondering if that was a character you had in mind when you were developing this movie, or if there was any other specific characters that you kind of used as inspiration.
That's a really interesting observation. I think it was subconscious. Han was the character I liked the most as a kid because of his braggadocio. I think there are some very Han-like moments in the film. Certainly the boring conversation anyway kind of moment. But there's definitely, that's very much like an echo of that in the first act of our film. But for me, it was important to tell a story about an adult. Like the movies that I related to as a kid, the character I wanted to hang out with was the adult. And it was aspirational in that way, since instead of the kid. Like Luke I didn't relate to. I wanted to be Han Solo. In Aliens, I wasn't following the kid, I was following Ripley. You know what I mean? There's something about that was important to me for this film. And I think that's what you're picking up on, is the kind of, I wanted to tell a story about a character who had a lot of arrogance and was humbled by their own hubris. So that is where you're getting some of that echo.
Right. Yeah. No, there was a lot of that in this movie. I loved what was done with Buzz. I loved, you said a bunch of times that in this he's a little less goofy and a little bit more of like an intelligent, capable action hero. Yeah. And I thought that was really great. Another character who I know we can't talk about it too much, but even just visually, Zurg is a character who looks very different from the toy that we see in Toy Story 2 or the cartoon version from Buzz Lightyear Star Command. I was wondering what the inspiration was behind changing that.
Great.
Or if you think in the metaverse of all of this that maybe there might be a project in the future where we get to that version we see in Toy Story 2.
Well, I imagine the version from Toy Story 2 is from the cartoon that the Toy Story Buzz is from. In the same way that the Buzz Lightyear Star Command cartoon show, that Zurg looks more like the Zurg that we know from Toy Story 2. But interestingly, I started as an intern in January of '97, and the first thing I got to do was actually help design Zurg, the robot. And that one is a little more influenced by the kind of jumbo machinder Japanese toy. It has a little bit more of that kind of design language. A little bit. It's not, the fists aren't quite as big enough. It doesn't have missiles in it, but it has that kind of sensibility. Whereas the modern, our Zurg has a little bit more influence from, I would say, a different, more of a real robot influence from Japanese anime, or it's a little bit more Pat Labor or Gundam or sorry, we're going on the road of nerd here. Anyway, it's a little bit more. There were things that we needed to do narratively, like he can't have a skirt from the standpoint of like, that was done for goofiness and movement for the second one, but like we needed him to have legs, but if he puts his legs together, they kind of form the skirt. Like I don't want to get away, the cape we dealt with in a different way. So we wanted to kind of take that idea and bring it into the new world, into our world, but still make it awesome. And go, what would be the coolest way to make Zurg? And so we changed the design, but kept it in the language of this film.
Yeah, I really loved all of that. I see all of the inspiration that you're talking about for sure. Galyn, I feel like I know what Angus might say if I asked him this, so I'll ask you. I mentioned, I've heard it mentioned from you guys before in various interviews that you picture this similar to Star Wars as the first movie in a franchise. You know, you said that Buzz Lightyear Star Command is to these movies as Ewoks would be to Star Wars. Are you kind of hoping the same thing for this movie? Are you hoping that we'll maybe see some sequels down the line? Are there any ideas floating in the air for what a second movie might look like?
I would think that we could tell a second movie from all the ideas we rejected for the first movie, but that's usually the case with our movies. I maybe, how's that for a very definitive answer? We're really sort of just finishing this up and launching this baby, and we're so excited to see this film out in theaters and see people respond. And then I think we're both going to go and sleep maybe for a couple of weeks. You know, we'll think about it then.
I also think that what the movie was designed to be a snapshot in a moment in time. It's not the first adventure of Buzz Lightyear, and it's not the last. And certainly we did not get into, spoiler alert for those at home, we didn't get into I alone know this weapon's only weakness, and Poison the Edge of the Galaxy is Zurg with a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. Partially because that's just Star Wars, but also because like that would take place in the future. So I wanted to do something where we weren't beholden to a timeline that was necessary to do all things. Because what I've found as an older fan, explaining everything is not satisfying. Actually leaving some stuff for the audience to fill in is really a way to involve them, and is an engagement with the fans in a way that allows them to make their own choices. And so that's part of it, is it meaning to be a snapshot movie. So it could go on, we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. I mean, I'm sure you've been watching Obi-Wan Kenobi as it released, and there's a random bounty hunter that's basically just a velociraptor, and I hope that we never learn anything else about this character ever again.
I'm only on episode 2. I haven't. Oh no, you spoiled it for me.
It's in episode 2.
It is.
Yeah.
Wait, what happens in episode 2? What's the velociraptor?
It's there's a bounty hunter that's shooting at Obi-Wan and Leia. That's basically
right. It is like
dinosaur.
A velociraptor.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I heard it's a very popular show.
Yes, it's people watch it. Well, you mentioned that there was a bunch of ideas that you didn't use in this movie. Maybe a long shot, but are you able to share maybe one of your favorites?
My favorites.
What was we were talking? Oh yeah, there was the robot hound scene I really liked.
Oh right.
Buzz used to crash land on before Buzz took. It used to be Buzz didn't bring socks with him, and he landed in the future. And the first interaction he had was with a robotic dog, like there was a Zurg Hound, and then the only weapon he had was a survival kit from his ejection seat, and the survival kit had like an Ivan-like personality, and she would comment on whatever he selected from the survival kit. So he'd be like, he grabbed like the flare gun, which is still in the movie, but originally the flare gun was like, oh, flare gun, excellent choice. It was like that kind of thing. And so it was this constant battle. Ultimately had to shove the whole suitcase into the robot's mouth, and then I think that's what killed it.
And also when Izzy and Mo were brother and sister, he was a dentist. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that was funny. There was a lot of dental humor where he would give people a checkup and then they'd get a sticker. I don't know. There was I mean, we made this movie over
5.5 years,
many decades, right. And sorry, go ahead.
Izzy and Mo were originally siblings.
Yeah, they were originally siblings because Alicia didn't exist in that. I mean, originally we wanted to show Izzy has a family, and so that Buzz doesn't, and then Alicia got to be the personification of home that Buzz was after, and then connecting Izzy and Alicia was like kind of like of course that makes perfect sense, but it wasn't always that way.